Hey everybody, welcome to Kathy's Milk Maker Anonymous. No, just kidding. More reviews. This is kind of a re-review. So NUTR sent me the replacement. We talked about that a while ago because I did the candy bar creamer that we made into a delicious Ninja Creamy ice cream. It was so good. And then it stopped working. So they finally have sent me one also now. If you have bought one after November of 2022, you get a 1-year warranty. If you bought before then, it's a 6-month warranty. The box is different. It's more compact, and I'm going to show you on the other camera. I'm going to give you a view of some of these because I think it's hard to see here. So this is the smaller NUTR box. It's letting you know homemade milk in minutes, ditch additives, 3 heat and blending settings. It's still the same machine, and we'll talk about that. Planting a tree for every NUTR machine sold. And it's got some different things on here. It's single serving. So that's one of the big main things if you are looking to buy a nut milk maker, and we'll talk about that. There's room temperature, warm and hot. It's got a 130 watt motor. The only motor I don't know about now is the almond cow, and I've asked them. It's a self-cleaning cycle, a delay start, keep warm, and a boil, so you can even boil water. And about the lid. And this kind of gives you just the rundown. Add your ingredients and water, select a setting, let it go, and you can strain some stuff out. So you can make soy milk in here, nut milk, seed milks, grain milks, all the milks. So that's all around on the box. So let's slide this out. I have not opened this yet. I just know it looks different than it did before. It's got this little box, and it's got, this says NUTR, and we'll see if I can figure out, I think it opens this way. Oh, and it says changing the way we milk, which I think is kind of cute. Yeah, I knew it wasn't going to be as easy as just opening that. Okay, so it's still pretty similar. It's a little less snazzy, but it also takes up less space. So it's saying 1 tree was planted, so that's kind of cool. It's a very nice heavy box. Now they are getting ready to do some nut blends, similar to the way Almond Cow sells ingredients. And I think this book is a little bit different. It looks updated and a little nicer. We'll look through that. Settings. I think they're giving you more details and a few recipes right here where you don't have to just go to the website. They've packaged it nicely. We get 1 tablespoon. I think we got a 2 tablespoon one. We've got the cord, and we've got the body. Ooh, it feels heavier. Okay, so I'm gonna, and I'm pretty sure there's nothing under here, but I will double check. So that is pretty much the unboxing. I think inside of here, whenever you're unboxing something, you want to check for all these little pieces of cardboard and whatnot. There's another piece of cardboard, and aha, this is more like the tea strainer I have, and actually this is nicer. I don't have the old strainer right with me. I'm not sure where it is right now, but other than that, it looks pretty much the same. I'm going to bring the one that isn't working anymore, and just we can kind of compare. I'm curious to compare the blade and see if it looks any different. And this blade looks a little thicker, and it looks like it might be raised up ever so slightly higher. It also looks like one of the problems I was having with this model was the lid was jumping past that. This seems to be a little bit deeper, so I'm hoping we won't have any issues with that. But other than that, the controls and everything are the same. And we're gonna wash it. So I'm going to undo the cord. And I always save my twisty ties. Do you save your twisty ties? I have a drawer of twisty ties. And what we're gonna do is we are gonna go to the sink. We're gonna put 1 drop of dishwashing liquid in there, and we're gonna fill it just below the max, because if you fill it up to the max and there's no actual substance, if it's just water, sometimes it can kind of go over. So we'll see, I'll do the best I can. That was a little more than 1. And we don't want to get any of this wet. Okay, I'm going to pour just a little bit out. Okay, so we never want to get this wet, and I'm not sure if the bottom can get wet either. So then we put the lid on, and see how this says unlock and this says lock. So we want to make sure it locks to there. And actually I can't push it further than there. So that is a really good sign to me. So now we see our stuff in here, and what we have to do is just press this button and see how it goes from one to the other. And we want to go all the way to the bottom to where it says self-clean. It's going to take about 90 seconds. And if you don't press start, it'll go ahead and do it. And just like the other cycles and pretty much all the nut milk maker things, it's going to start and stop, start and stop, start and stop. And I'm happy that this isn't knocking over, so I do feel like they've made an improvement. And the beeps tell me it's done, and that also says the cycle's done. So we'll take the lid off. Usually it's better, you're gonna get an E2 error if you take this lid off or don't have it on when it's plugged in. So this just washed everything really good, but we still need to rinse this out. And we can rinse any part of this lid out. We cannot get where these electronics are. So I'm going to show you how I do that. So magically, this part's easy. Woohoo! Right? I just want to rinse the soap out. With this, I'm going to pour everything out. And then I'm going to kind of rinse around the edges, being careful not to get any water in there. Okay, and I can still see. It's easier for me to do it the opposite way of where I have my camera. And usually that's the way I do it. But that looks pretty good to me. Pour any extra water out, and now we're ready to make something if we want to. So I am going to go ahead and make like a spiced chai. So whereas normally we might heat up milk and then put it together, we're going to make the milk and brew the chai at the same time, because the warm setting is about 5 minutes, which is about the time I want to heat it. So I have from the old one, this was the 2 tablespoon. It came with both of these. The new one only comes with a tablespoon. I don't think it's a big deal at all. These are really nice measuring spoons. So we could do oat, we could do cashew, we could do almond, we could do any of those things we want. We would not want to do soy or oat groats or something that needs to be cooked longer than 5 minutes, or we need to make that, then make our tea. So I think I'm going to put about a teaspoon of cashews, and I'm going to go ahead and put some oats in there too. How much ingredients you put in is how thick and rich it's going to be. So from thinking in the old dairy ways, skim milk to heavy cream. Probably about 2 tablespoons would give you like 2% to whole milk. 3 tablespoons will give you kind of a whole milk and maybe a little bit extra. So I want this to be really thick and rich and yummy. And then I'm going to take, I've got this spiced tea, the Rishi, and it has black tea, and it's got some of the spices, and I'm going to take about between a half a teaspoon and a teaspoon depending on how strong you want your tea. You can sweeten it with whatever you want. We could sweeten it now or sweeten it later. With the date syrup, I'm going to sweeten later. If I was using whole dates, I would do it now. I want to put the water up to the max, and that's listed on the inside. You can see it really clearly when you're standing in front of it. Not so much where you are now. Okay. Then I'm just going to take my lid. And see, this time it did go past it. So let's try not to make it do that. So I'm going to go ahead and put the cord, attach it. So I want it to go to warm. There we go. And those are all letting me know that it's working. And it's, again, it's going to kind of grind, then not grind, grind, then not grind. And with the warm setting, it's actually even coming up to temperature, which is pretty awesome. So this lets me know that we've got 4 more minutes. So it's not instantaneous on this setting. You can feel up the top on the glass, it's getting warm. We're going to unplug it or get an error message, up to you. Okay, and you can see there's tea and everything in there, right? So we're going to strain it. So this is the strainer that came in with it this time. I love these strainers because they'll fit across jars, pitchers. No matter what you're doing, it's really easy. I think it's a little bit wider holes than on my actual tea strainer that I have, and you can see there's going to be some stuff in here. Most of this is tea and spices. What I do is I just take a small strainer. As you move the things that are blocking the holes, that's how you strain things out really quickly in these strainers. I didn't hold on to that very good, but that was on me. Come back here. And then once we're done with this, oh, it looks so frothy and good. I am going to put some sweetener in it. You could leave it unsweetened if you wanted to. You could put agave nectar. I have some vegan honeys, which are made with different things, and some flower pollen, which is, I'm very excited to try that too. This is what got strained out. And that was pretty much the tea, and some of that also is oat fiber. And look how frothy and yummy that looks. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of date syrup in there and mix that up. And if we wanted to use whole dates, we would have just blended them in. But I didn't want any of this syrup, like if you're using maple syrup, if you're using a simple syrup or something like that, you can lose some of that within this pulp. So this is going to give you a better, sweeter product. That's really good. So from the fattiness of the oats and a little bit of cashews, it's really a rich, creamy texture. You get all the wonderful flavors from the tea and the spices, and just a little hint of sweet from the date paste. But that is pretty much my 10-cent tour of what I wasn't expected to be a little bit new and improved, but there is some definite improvements that I'm noticing in this so far. Hopefully, I was reading on, I think it was Indiegogo, that they're planning a 2.0. So I can't see any other information about that, but if that happens, I'll let you know. And again, NUTR is a small milk maker that's great for 1 or 2 people, or if you want to make your milk every single day, you can make lattes, hot cocos, you can make all the amazing things. So what I want to task you with is go off and make your own nut milk and save a slew of money. Even if you make it in your blender, it's all good with me.